Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this little chit chat get ready with me. This week didn't really go according to plan vlogging wise, so I thought I would pop on. I've asked you guys a few questions or asked you to give me a few questions over on Instagram, and I just thought we could sit down for a little while with my morning cup of tea and we could get ready together. Now I'm looking very sleepy. It is Saturday morning and I'm actually getting ready to go and do some Christmas shopping, which just makes it all the more festive. Before we begin, we'll address the crazy curls. This is actually what my hair looks like when it's not blow dried and nothing's done to it. So we're rocking the natural hair. I found recently that my hair has been really tricky to style, and I genuinely think the only reason I can think of is that obviously I've been working really hard on the condition of my hair over the past few months, and I genuinely think it must be in such good condition it's just not holding any sort of style really particularly well, because I think it's just a bit too silky and a bit too whatever. So it's also just a bit easier to leave it and let it do its thing, and as it gets a little bit longer the natural curls weigh themselves down and they look quite pretty. So yeah, that is a slight change in my appearance. Obviously, given I look very sleepy on a Saturday morning as well, might be looking a little bit wild this morning. But welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Samara, and I feel like this probably wouldn't be the first video that you click on if you're new here, because this is just a sit down and chit chat. But if you are new here, my name's Samara. I'm a yoga teacher. I also really focus a lot of my work on like rooted feminine healing. But today is just a very, very chilled, relaxed chit chat, almost a cozy chit chat get ready with me, because it is getting ready to go Christmas shopping. So I thought I should probably start with questions, shouldn't I? Okie dokie, let's begin. The first question is the world's loveliest question. It is, how are you feeling? Which, thank you so much for asking. I feel like it's been really nice, this sort of series of the healing diaries, because I've been able to kind of be a little bit more relaxed and candid with you. I've kind of taken the pressure off of having like the world's most perfect vlogs, and just decided that I want to, like, being present is the most important thing here, which is really nice. I'm not gonna lie, last week in particular, where I was actually vlogging, but I don't think this really came across within the vlogs. Last week was a really, really tough week, and then at the beginning of this week, Jake and I had some not so great news. Nothing bad, like everyone, I mean, it was not great, but everyone is safe and healthy. It's nothing sort of that length. It was just something that we really had hoped was going to fall into place, and it hasn't, which has been really disappointing. So to be honest, things have been really up and down. Within myself, generally, I am okay. Life is just really, really stressful, and sort of navigating that has been tough, I won't lie. So how am I feeling? Today I'm feeling great. I'm excited about the idea of going Christmas shopping. I'm feeling very grounded, if nothing else. So yeah, thank you so much for asking. I'm doing okay. I'm moving through life's ups and downs, but I'm doing okay, and I really appreciate you asking and you caring, because it honestly means the world. Before we even do this though, I'm going to go in with my skincare and whack these off. I'll immediately look more human. I do, thank goodness for that. Pop them to the side. I think I've been through what sort of skincare and stuff I'm using, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but I'm just going in with a face serum. Next I'm going in with sunscreen, always sunscreen. I feel like I could do with a refill of this, but even in the winter I'm quite good with my sunscreen these days, which is good. Fab. Okay, going on to the next question. Hi, I'm so interested in honoring my feminine energy in my yoga practice. How can I begin to do this? First of all, how exciting. We all know that I am a bit of the feminine yoga queen. I absolutely love infusing my yoga classes with the more feminine energy. Focus on me, please. So where I would begin, first of all, is tuning into, I guess, what your yoga practice looks like now. When we think about the more feminine, I guess, qualities to begin with, we consider what are the more feminine qualities: slowing down, stillness, darkness, intuition, fluidity. And these are all sort of qualities you want to think about bringing into your practice. So step one, start practicing more yin, without a doubt. Like, your practice should be prioritized with yin, because yin is one of the most feminine expressions of yoga. If I tend to think of the practices of yoga on a spectrum, and like Ashtanga, Rocket, some stronger vinyasa classes are definitely on the more masculine side, and then yin, restorative, like pre and postnatal, are very much on the more feminine side. Hatha probably sits in and around the middle. So you really want to be focusing your practices more on the feminine side to really kind of acclimatize yourself to it and get more comfortable with these softer and slower practices if you aren't already. And then the next thing I would do is kind of throw away the rule book. Begin to allow yourself to practice a little bit more intuitively, to move around your mat a little bit more intuitively. We do a lot of practices on Soul Shadow like this. I call them intuitive practices, where I sort of guide you into developing your own more intuitive practice. So I would really, really recommend, if that is something you're wanting to do, to try those few little tips. Okay, I'm getting distracted. The next thing I'm going in with is Hollywood Folders Filter. I feel like I've done a makeup tutorial with you guys fairly recently, or just like my makeup routine with you guys fairly recently. So this might be really familiar because it doesn't tend to change that often. I'm just gonna whack a mirror there. So I'm looking at you, and I'm not gonna end up looking like an absolute crazy person, hopefully. I'm quite just generally looking forward to this weekend, because we have like the beginnings of some festive things planned. I think I might do some festive baking, which I will be vlogging. Obviously not in this, it'll be in next week's vlog, but I think I might do some festive baking. Obviously we're going to do some festive Christmas shopping, which I do love to shop. I love a Christmas shopping trip. So excited. So that is going to be lovely. But yeah, let's move on to the next question. Any podcast recommendations, please, and just thank you for all the good vibes. Thank you for being here. Again, I feel like I'm going to say that after every single one of these. Feeling really grateful for you guys at the moment. I feel like we just have the most beautifully lovely, girly, gorgeous, connected community, and honestly, that is what I need the most in my life right now. So I'm so grateful for you guys here on YouTube. Anyway, going back to podcast recommendations. So my favorite ever podcast is Witch by BBC4 by India Axon. Amazing. However, it doesn't have multiple seasons. I was very disappointed when I realized it wasn't going to come back for a season 2. But that is my first, probably my favorite podcast. The second is Saturn Returns by Kagi Dunlop, which just so good. I really love that one. The next one I quite like, Returning by Rebecca Campbell. That one is also quite good. And then there's another one which is kind of like my guilty pleasure podcast that I listen to just when I'm in the car and I want to feel like I'm chit-chatting to a friend, and that is called the Comfy Cozy Witch podcast. So cute. It's by a lady called Jenny Blonde, and it's just all cozy, chilled, very, very relaxed vibes. So that one's quite nice. And the final one that I really enjoy is it's called The Girly Whirly Show by Sophie Murray, and she is honestly so wise. Yeah, really, really love that one. On that note, I have had it on my list. I'm just gonna be really candid with you guys. I have had it on my list of things that I would love to do, would be to start a podcast, and I have the name, I have all the branding ready. It was something I wanted to do this year, and just due to personal life stuff, it never really felt like the right time. But it might be something that I put on my list for 2025 if it feels like something you guys would enjoy, because I do love to sit down and have a natter, but I appreciate we have a YouTube for that, so I just don't know if actually there's room for that. But if that is something you would enjoy, and you would enjoy having a little podcasty space where we chat all things feminine energy and a little bit of yoga, but also just a bit more relaxed, feminine energy, intentional living, spirituality, but also just really grounded chilled vibes. Let me know if that's something you would enjoy, because it is still something I'm very much considering. Okay, moving on. The next thing, this is like the holy grail in my makeup bag. I love this so much. It is the Merit Minimalist Complexion Stick, Perfecting Complexion Stick. Love this. I use this every day. It is fantastic and I just adore it. But let's move on to the next question. How do I get more private yoga clients besides teaching group classes? Okay, so I love that we're getting some yoga teacher advice questions in here, because obviously I feel like that's where this channel really began to get some traction, was with yoga teacher advice. And I love giving, well, not even giving advice, it's not that particularly. I love being able to help and being able to share what wisdom I've picked up along the way. I'm very grateful that I have a space to do that, because I feel like I needed that when I first started this career. I'm going really dark. Come back. Hi, come back. There we go, that's better. Okay, so you're wanting to do private yoga. Sip of tea. You're wanting to do private yoga. First things first, I think it's really important to understand that private yoga is a little bit different to, obviously you're going to know this, private yoga is quite different to group classes. And I'd say the main reason that people go for private yoga over a group class is usually because they can't actually access whatever it is in the group class, whether it be to mobility issues, whether it be because of an injury, whether it be because they're wanting to do something really, really specific. Usually a group class isn't hitting the spot, so they are wanting a private class. Other than that, maybe they're just particularly wealthy and they want to, they prefer the experience of private yoga, but more often than not, there is a reason people are coming for private yoga, not just because they want a private experience, if that makes sense. So with that in mind, I think it's really, really important to have a niche if you want more private yoga clients. Like, why do people need private yoga with you? Do you specialize in injury recovery? Do you specialize in inversions? Do you specialize in maybe like private yoga for more elderly clients, or private yoga for decreased mobility? Or maybe you want to do like pre and postnatal, and that's more of a private setting. It's very unlikely that you're just going to get like a student who has no like specific needs then want to pay more for a private class, if that makes sense. So it may be that they're working on a specific asana within their practice and they want some more one-to-one instruction, or it may be that actually you've got something a bit more specialized. So I'd really encourage you to have a little think about how you can offer a more niche and a more specialized service to your private clients, because they would be paying more, so then they expect you to be more of a specialist, whether it be you're a specialist in injury recovery, as I said, or yoga for runners, or yoga for athletes, or yoga for mums, or whatever it might be. Also have a little think about like who it is in your area that is likely to want private yoga, because you might then do private yoga for athletes, but you're wanting to focus that more in person rather than online, and there's not very many athletes in your area. So it's almost like doing some study on who's in your area and where the demand is for private yoga, and then niching down, specializing in it, making sure your advertising is good. Word of mouth is one of the best things for private yoga clients. Sorry guys, my camera was about to die, so I needed to pop you on charge. Where were we? I was doing concealer. Okay. Let's get the next question and keep going. I'm kind of loving this. I can take forever to get ready with you guys and just have a nice time. Okay, the next question is, when are you moving to the Scottish Highlands? Great question. The person who's asked this knows it is an absolute dream of mine. It's honestly, I just am obsessed. Like, it just looks like the coziest, nicest, loveliest place to, it's just a dream. However, it doesn't feel like particularly, it's not a dream for right now. I would love to go and visit. Saying that, we are in the process of moving out of London, which is honestly really exciting. I haven't really spoken about this too much, and I'm not going to speak about it too much because I know everyone has like different things work for different people, and everyone has different opinions on things, and I never want to sway anyone's opinions, you know? So for me personally, and for Jake, I just don't think London is a forever place for us. I'm really looking forward to moving out of London, and we're not 100% sure where it is we are going next, which is a little bit stressful and a little bit nerve-wracking. However, it will be a much slower pace, which will be really, really nice. And it will also be probably more in and around nature. We're very lucky where we are actually in London that we have lots of nature near us, but even saying that, I feel very, very ready to not really be living in a city. I'm not actually a city person, which is, some of you guys are going to find so shocking, because I know that a lot of you guys have been here since like I lived in Dubai, and obviously Dubai is like such a bustling city, and I actually loved my time there. I really, really did. We had so much fun, and there was just so much to do, and it was a great place to be for work, and it was fantastic. But yeah, I'm just feeling at this stage in my life that I'm just not a city gal. I'm really not, and I don't think I ever really was. So that's a little secret in there, is that we are in the process of moving out of London, and I am really excited about it. And whilst it won't be the Scottish Highlands, because we are kind of tied down south, I'm just really excited. I'm excited for a change of scenery. I'm excited to feel a lot more grounded, a lot more settled. I also feel like the vlogs are just going to be so much better, but we've got a while, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is kind of what I was talking about in previous vlogs, and I was saying we've got a bit of an awkward in between time for the next couple of months, because we're not really 100% sure on our next steps. That's actually what the kind of stressful news that we got earlier in the week was about as well. So it's all up in the air at the moment, but yeah. We'll be moving to the Scottish Highlands. We'll be moving out of London. Would love to visit the Scottish Highlands. And you know what? Who knows? I would also love to retire there later in life. Honestly, I feel like I'd love to live in like the Outer Hebrides or like the Isle of Skye, which I know is really out in the sticks. I can't think of anything better. Like, just an island where I'm completely left to it. That's how we know I'm an introvert, because I just love that. Just sounds like the best idea. I was also reading something recently about like the kind of like the folklore in and around, I guess, the Scottish Islands, and it's talking about like the Selkie and things like that, and I was just like, oh, I just love it, But anyway, I've gone off on a massive tangent there, so let's go back. I was just doing a bit of like bronzy contour. This is the Bronze Balm by Merit again, in the shade Sen, I think it's Sen, which makes me laugh, because you think it's Sen because like the Sen River is not that clean, so it's brown. I hadn't thought of that literally until now. I don't think that's why it's called that. But anyway, one thing I'm actually desperate to try by Merit is their new perfume. I think it's called Merit Retrospect, and it's meant to be like a really lovely, almost like vintagey skin-like scent. I'm desperate to try that. I'm really obsessed with the brand. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, moving on to the next question. Back to yoga teacher advice. I currently have 5 studio classes, but I want to hire a space of my own. Any advice? I'm thinking that you're meaning you want to hire a space to also host your own classes versus like opening a studio, because they would obviously be slightly different. I cannot advise you on opening a studio in just one video, and also like probably wouldn't be the best person to advise that because I haven't done it myself. But in terms of renting your own spaces for classes, firstly, I think this is a fantastic idea, so well done for coming to this, because it enables you to really, I guess, have a lot more ownership over your work. The first thing I would consider is, if you have a contract with the current studio you are with, do they have a non-compete clause? That's just something to check, because if they do have a non-compete clause, you might just have to be a little bit careful. You are not allowed to market to, obviously it depends on what the clause is, but you won't be allowed to market your individual classes, like the classes you do outside of the studio, to the clients in the studio, so you'll just need to be a little bit more careful. But once you've checked that, and if you don't have a contract with the studio, which is not unheard of, start looking for spaces. It's the first thing. Spaces like churches, village halls, like any sort of like community space that you can rent out. Sometimes schools, like civic centres and whatnot are a great place to start. make sure you go in and you sort of think, okay, can I make this what I need it to be, right? And then once you've done that and you've found the space and maybe you've made sure you have all the equipment, consider if like people are going to bring their equipment or whether or not you're going to provide it or whatever it might be. Got to start marketing, right? And what I would recommend is, if this is something that you're doing, to take out, like, commit to like 10 weeks, pay for them up front if you can. You're probably going to need to have a bulk of savings, whatever it might be, put aside, because first couple of weeks you're probably not even going to break even. And this is the case in all businesses, right? It's not just yoga, but don't necessarily expect your class to be full on the first week because it's very, very unlikely. Consistency is really important along with good marketing. So it's really, really important that you commit and you're there for a good amount of time. So people are like, oh gosh, yeah, yoga's happening, we should go next week. Whereas if you only do 3 weeks of it and then you cancel, people might hear about it and never get around to going. And by the time they're like, oh gosh, yeah, that class that's done at so-and-so center, they go to do it and you're no longer there. So it's really important that you put aside, I would always recommend like at minimum 6 weeks, 10 weeks would be more ideal. And just committing to that and being prepared for the first couple of weeks to maybe have no one show up. Make sure you're marketing it effectively. Word of mouth is a great way to do this within communities. So flyering in cafes, obviously Instagram, you can do targeted ads, but just make sure your marketing is really good for this, because that's the biggest difference, is you are going to be in charge of your marketing versus a studio being in charge of your marketing. Okay, I feel like this is going well. I feel like you can't really see what I'm doing here because this lighting is not the best. It is a bit of a gloomy day here in London. Oh, that tea is so lovely though. Okay, moving on to the next question. I'm just finding all of my brow. I've got my makeup bag down here. So if you're wondering what it is that I'm looking at down here, it's my makeup bag. Okay, current dreams / what are you manifesting? Interesting question. Okay, to be honest, I feel like this has really taken like a turn for me this year. Whereas I feel like I used to be manifesting a lot of things, and I always used to come on here and give tips for manifestation, and I just spent a lot of my time thinking about manifestation. I feel like it was also like very much a trend for a little while. I feel like I'm less in that vibe at the moment. I haven't really been actively manifesting an awful lot this year. I'd say towards the end of this year, there's like one thing that I'm manifesting, but I think more than anything, like, I've really learned this year that actually, like, manifesting is incredible. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing. However, there is an element of like, we can do very like masculine manifestations that kind of force things that aren't meant to be. And I realized I really don't want to be doing that at this stage in my life. I really want things to flow quite naturally and to feel as if I'm being divinely led to whatever it is that is meant for me. But with that being said, there are a few things. I think more than anything, my biggest, more general just manifestation for this year, and my biggest dream is, one of them was Soul Shatter. I really manifested the rebrand of Soul Shatter, and I was so excited for that, and I'm honestly so grateful for that. I feel like that's been one of the biggest successes to come out of this year, and the community there and YouTube as well. Like, it's been a real career highlight for this year. But I think other than that, just more generally, I'm just really manifesting a slow life. I want like my life to feel so much slower. I want my life to feel so much more settled. I really actually, more than anything, and this is getting a little bit deep, so bear with me, more than anything, I really just want to have a sense of home. And I feel like that is probably my biggest dream and manifestation at the moment, is to really feel at home somewhere. Just for a little bit of context, I moved away from, I'm from the Cayman Islands. I moved away from home at 18 or 19, can't really remember now. And since then, I've kind of like been moving around since. I think I've moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be my 7th move in 7 or 8 years. So like almost moving every single year. So 7 moves in 8 years is quite a lot. So naturally, gosh, has it really been that many? Yeah, it has. So naturally, I think just really wanting that space of home, because I'm actually not someone who enjoys moving, which is shocking. I feel like when people say to you, oh yeah, I'm constantly moving, they'll enjoy the idea of it, they love it. I hate moving. I hate not having a base. I hate not feeling at home. So my biggest manifestation at the moment is eventually finding somewhere where I feel really, really at home and really settled, and I feel like I can really like sink my roots in and almost like become a fixture. I feel like that's really something I'm craving and manifesting and dreaming about at this stage of my life. So far less glamorous than maybe what you were expecting, and far less glamorous than what I know most people my age are manifesting. And I bet there's some of you guys watching this that like have that, and you're probably like, that's not exciting at all, why does she want that? But like, honestly, when the day eventually comes, it will be, first of all, a lovely reset for my nervous system, but also just a dream come true. So yeah, got a bit personal there. Hopefully you don't mind. But yes, another sip of tea. I am just gonna take a break from questions so I can get on with my makeup. I will describe to you what I'm doing. Priming my eyelids with my shadow. I feel like when my hair is curly, and I don't know if this is just a me thing, I don't know if anyone else has like quite wildly curly hair here, maybe they feel the same, but I just feel like I need to put a little bit more effort in to my makeup, because I haven't worn my hair curly in ages. Obviously as a child and a teenager I wore it curly all the time, but as I just sort of got older, mostly just fell out the habit of it, and then I feel really weird now with it. But popping on some makeup always makes me feel like myself again, because I'm like, you look a little bit different, but not that different. And the idea of having like long mermaidy curly hair, I would be quite partial to. I would enjoy that. And I feel like it is, it's longish. We could do with a few more inches, but yeah, I feel like making sure I pop on just a bit more makeup gets me feeling just that little bit more human. So whilst I wouldn't normally put on eyeshadow every day, because it's firstly Christmas shopping day, which is very exciting, and secondly we're working with crazy curls, I think it's the right thing to do today. I also don't think I mentioned, but I'm doing my makeup in the living room just because I thought it'd be slightly better lighting for you guys this morning. I know the lighting is kind of going in and out, but for my eyeshadow I'm actually going in with like this is like the world's oldest palette. I'm going in with that shimmery brown shade. I've been really enjoying doing, I don't know if this is like inner child healing, I've really been enjoying doing my like teenager makeup, the makeup I used to do when I was a teenager. I didn't really do any like crazy makeup as a teenager. I kind of did it quite similarly to how I do it now. But one thing that I really, really enjoyed was like a wash of shimmery brown eyeshadow, and it was so cute. And I lost the eyeshadow that I used to do it with. Naturally, I'm like 7 years, and that's what I can't believe. I'm now 27. Like, I don't feel like I'm 10 years older than I was when I was 17. Let me know if anyone else feels that way, but like, I'm like, gosh, why did I lose that eyeshadow? But it was 10 years ago. So naturally, I've probably lost the eyeshadow, shockingly. So yeah, I'm just giving the primer a moment to set, because I have quite like sensitive eyes, and I feel like I just end up having the eyeshadow go really like creasy if I don't put a primer down. And I'm literally just gonna wash this all over, and then we're done. Nothing exciting. I feel like I could do with some better lighting than this, because it's probably looking absolutely wild. And then we will move on to the next question. I just can't answer questions whilst I'm doing my eyeshadow. Jake is still snoozing away, and we promised each other that we were going to get out really lovely and early to get to the shops, because it is Black Friday weekend. So naturally it's going to be complete and utter chaos, but you know what, I don't actually mind the chaos. It feels kind of festive. It really, really does feel a bit festive, so I am not too worried about it. He will be though. I don't think he'll enjoy it, but what can you do? What can you do? Okay, now that's done, I can move on to the next question. The next question is, what is your biggest healing lesson healing slash lesson of 2024? Such a good question, first of all, because I feel like 2024 has been my year of healing and like doing some like deep healing and inner work. And I'd say I'm thinking of doing an entire video on this, like doing 10 lessons I've learned this year. But probably the biggest lesson I think would be like this learning of the dark feminine, which I know probably sounds quite unusual because that's just not something that I really ever speak about on here, and I do plan to speak about it, but because I've been moving through my own sort of lessons with it and like, yeah, lessons and healings with it, yeah, I'd feel like really relearning the power of the dark feminine and like the power held in feminine rage and just the power that's held in the feminine versus the light softness has been such a healing lesson this year and has been so liberating in so many ways. And then the next lesson, I know this was only one, but I feel like there's just been like two huge takeaways for me this year that have really transformed like my day-to-day life. And I would say the next one is definitely less is more. Like, I feel like that's something that I've really done this year, and I wonder if it's like I feel like recently I'm wondering a lot if they say your brain fully develops at 25, which is obviously 2 years ago for me, and I feel like a lot's changed in that time. And I just feel like since my brain is fully developed that I've really realized that less is in fact more. And I know we hear that all the time, but I mean that like less is so much more. I want less stuff. I want my life to feel less like busy. I just want like stillness and peace and like really to be able to enjoy the simple things in life. And I feel like that's been a big thing this year, and I guess it kind of relates to the question before of like, what am I manifesting and what are my dreams? And to be honest, like less is more, and that is where I'm at of like, actually I'm not wanting for more things at this stage in my life. I'm actually wanting for less things and for things to feel more simple and to just have that really rooted feeling. So in a way, I think less is more has been one of the biggest lessons. I've applied that to my work and my marketing within my business. I've started being more intentional and doing less in a more intentional way, and then it feels like more and it creates more connection. I've just really simplified a lot of things, and to say that it's created so much like appreciation for the beauty in the small things would be one of the biggest understatements. I just think that it has been, I think it's a lesson that comes with maturity as well, that actually simplicity is so beautiful and just so special, like really, really, really special. And actually I want to have a life where I can appreciate that. And I think, yeah, that's been one of my biggest healing lessons. And yeah, from this year. So you've got two there, but I know you only asked for one, but you've got two. But as I said, I'm thinking of doing an entire video on that. So obviously it would be less chilled and relaxed than this one, but let me know if that's something you would want a video on, like 10 lessons from 2024. Right, one more thing to do. I need to do my lips and then I'm done. I will answer one more question whilst I do that, but I just need to go and grab my lip balm out of my handbag. And the last and final question was, how are you feeling having moved away from Instagram? For those of you that don't know, I made the conscious decision to, whilst not come off Instagram completely, to really move away from, I guess, my marketing and needing to show up on Instagram every single day. I've really moved away from using Instagram the way in which I used to. I used to be on there literally 24/7. So this question's asking how am I feeling since, because I did mention it in a vlog over the summer. Honestly, amazing. It is great. I love it. I'm just using very old lip liner from MAC and then the Clarins Natural Lip Perfector. I wouldn't normally buy from MAC, but it's an old one. But this one I love. So how am I feeling? I'm feeling really, really great. I love it. I feel like I have so much more time. I feel like I have so much more freedom. I feel like I'm not like a slave to an algorithm, which is really, really, really great. I genuinely think like it was the perfect move for me, not even just It wasn't so much of a mental health thing, if I'm honest. It was more of a just, again, wanting to simplify things and feeling like the app was getting really, really noisy and constantly being told not doing enough or picking things apart. And I just think that the energy of the app had really changed for me. And actually, I also, if I'm being really honest, when I looked at what I do within my work, which is Soul Challenge, anyone who's new here, I have my own virtual soul studio where I share yoga classes and like deep feminine healing. And when I really looked at what I want, first of all, what Soul Challenge is a slightly more long-term commitment, and it's a commitment to a lifestyle. And I don't want to ever come across as, I just don't think that you can really share and sell something that is a lifestyle through really short, snappy, almost like action-based content, if that makes sense. I just feel like Instagram was becoming less and less of a suitable place to market effectively for what it is that I do for work. And I feel like actually what was going to resonate and what was going to make you actually really feel the energy that is inside Soul Shala is slower based content that you can really sit down with a cup of tea and enjoy. And that was one of the biggest drivers for me to sort of switch up the way in which I was connecting with you guys, because I wanted it to feel really cohesive and aligned with everything that I teach. And it's been the best thing that I've done. I literally spend about 3 hours on Instagram a week max, and that is doing more stuff on the Soul Shala page, which is the community space. So the people who are on there tend to be part of Soul Shala as it is. So it's a really good space for us to connect and me to keep them updated. And then the occasional post to promote the blogs that I put up here. So I love it. I love consuming it this way. I feel like I have so much time. I feel like I can chuck my phone and not need to be on it. I feel like I have so much time to read books, which I just adore. Honestly, one of the best things and the best changes that I implemented, and it was quite nerve-wracking because obviously within my industry it's the basis of a lot of people's businesses and a lot of people's work, and I just knew that it was just feeling very masculine, if I'm honest. It was feeling very like constantly you need to do more, putting effort into content that naturally due to the algorithm was going to be forgotten. And I just wanted something that was a little bit more long-lasting and felt really genuine, rather than having to sort of manipulate the content to fit into what Instagram wanted. So I hope that that makes sense. I still adore Instagram. I think it's a great app. I just have a very different relationship with it. Yeah. Now, with that being said, I'm pretty much ready. I think I'm going to add actually a bit of highlighter, and then we are done and ready for the day. Again, this is the Merit highlighter in Bounce. Love this. This has been a good little, I haven't really been explaining everything I've been doing, but it's been a good mixture of all of my like favorite bits and bobs. And that is me ready for a day of Christmas shopping. I really hope you enjoyed this chit chat get ready with me. I hope it was some fun background listening, maybe whilst you're making dinner or folding laundry or whatever it might be. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know, and I shall see you next week for our weekly vlog, and it's going to be a getting festive weekly vlog. I'm really excited about it. I'm vlogging this afternoon, going Christmas shopping. I've got a few fun things planned next week as well, so I'm very excited to see you in the first Christmas vlog of the season. But otherwise, I'm sending you so much love. I really hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me here. I really hope that you have the most beautiful start to December. Try not to be hard on yourself. Give yourself time to rest. Try to reflect in the most compassionate way possible on the year that has passed, and I will catch up with you very, very soon. Bye guys.